throw them under the bus.
That's why it's late.
Let's go.
I think, especially nowadays, like they think pleasure is happiness.
This is the first episode of the podcast. All right, that's gonna be good. That'll be golden. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Jordan Whitrock Show. I'm your host, Jordan Whitrock, and today we have a very special guest that I'm just really excited to have. I have my brother on. He is 2 years younger than me, but sometimes his maturity is 5 years older than me. So this conversation is going to be awesome, and let's get him in here. Let's go. All right. Sweet. Well, you made it. This is the
Barely.
first.
This setup is crazy, guys. You can't see this, but
Hey, don't give out the secrets.
concrete jungle in here.
Hey, no, it's not. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Welcome. How's it going, everyone? Yeah.
As a non-tech guy, it's kind of crazy. I don't
You're right.
even know how
Dude,
you run this
honestly,
stuff.
I'm kind of sad. So, Josh, who's in the back, Josh, say hi.
What's up?
Yeah, we love Josh.
Yeah, Josh, our
He's
tech
looking
guy.
pretty cool over
He's
there.
cooking for us. We don't have a camera. We'll work on it. We'll get him a camera so you guys can see him.
We're good. We don't need one.
Anyway, dude, the last time we set this up like a week ago, and then we ran into some problems with cameras, so we had to wait a little bit. But when we were gonna film this, like the thing was like insanely tall, the most sketchy thing. Okay, so I have a cat house like a cat pole for the cat. And brother saw it like above, and he was gonna go for the jump. I stopped him, and I was like,
crazy.
"Ooh." And then later that night, I went to my desk to like do editing for YouTube and stuff like that, and all of a sudden I just hear, and the cat's just running. He tried to actually jump
That's
up
crazy.
on that.
He's
that
really
top
old
thing.
too, so
Yeah.
that's like he's not a young cat.
He
too.
did destroy one of my camera stands though. It was like it was a cheaper one, but that leg snapped in half because everything must have just fell. So
dang.
I had to buy another.
Was the
one,
camera
but-
up there or was it?
No, I don't even know what was. No, I think it fell on the leg.
Okay.
So it was fine, but the angle was just
yep.
it got cooked immediately. But yeah, no. So that was pretty crazy. Also, I have a special treat for you, but we'll do it later into the stream. So if you're watching, stick around. You'll see.
Keep me excited.
Yeah, keep you wanting. So.
Like I think I tap out with technology. Like I can set up like a projector and like an HDMI cord to my computer. Yeah, and that's like it.
I remember when you had that projector. That was pretty fire.
Yeah,
you were watching all. Was that like a year, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I like watched all the
NFL
80s Batman and NFL.
Yeah, so
NFL Sunday was crazy.
But I remember because you were using like I think what is it? What company do we use for Wi-Fi? Spectrum?
Maybe, yeah.
You can like connect based on your TV or whatever you do for your. It's before we got YouTube TV for the NFL season, and I just remember being in like this back room where there's no signal at all.
Yeah,
and
it would just buffer.
It would just buffer nonstop.
Yeah.
So I'd come back here and be like, "Oh, that's so sick," and you'd be like, "Yeah," and you're just sitting on the couch. I think
it's just like rolling.
I think this couch.
Yeah, it was. I think it was that couch. Yeah.
and yeah, it was just a buffer. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm just gonna go downstairs."
Yeah.
And, yeah.
No, that was a sick room. I liked the setup of that room because it almost like I had like a lounge area and then I had like a living area. It almost felt like my own apartment, like until I could move out. So,
yeah. Speaking of which, football. How do you feel about the Packers season?
I
feel like we watched a lot of NFL this year more than like most years, so it's kind of devastating, But
it was, honestly, I don't think there was a point where I like 100% trusted the Packers. Like I remember, like when we had Aaron Rodgers, it was always like, "Oh, he's gonna win this." We're like 14 points behind. He's gonna win this. Like it was never a question. And then I was shocked when he wouldn't win it. But this year, I was like, we'd be the favorites by like 6 points, and I'm like, who's saying this? Because like I don't trust this team. Yeah. I just think there's a lot of things we can improve. We got a lot of young guys.
Look at this. We have our third co-host, our second guest.
Hey, there you
on
go,
the show.
proud co-host right there.
Yeah, I've been searching for a co-host. I think I found one.
Yep.
It's the cat. This is Nikita, everyone.
They always say your hosts have to bring different crowds in,
He's my child. So that's gonna be. Yeah, actually, when we were test running the podcast, we had Mob sitting where you were.
Yep.
And he jumped up on her and was just purring, and I don't know. That was pretty funny. I think the Packers season was honestly what I expected. I didn't know. I actually didn't think we were gonna get into the playoffs.
That's true. I think we did better than I expected.
I don't know. It's kind of is what it is. We got the Super Bowl coming up. I'm hoping it's between the Bills and the Commanders. That's what I think would be pretty
That'd
fun.
be a sick game.
I know some people want the Eagles. I think besides the Swifties, no one wants the Chiefs. Which
I don't even know if the Swifties know what the Super Bowl is. So
you still don't? No, they definitely know
honestly,
what it is. There's no way they don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's kind of crazy to say that.
I say beautiful. Honestly, okay, you asked me how I felt about the Packers season. I feel a lot better knowing that the Vikings and Detroit got knocked out. Like I saw that completed my season. I'm like, you know what? The Packers aren't even in the playoffs right now, but I don't even care.
I saw this stat and it was saying like our division was like, I don't know, 40 and like 11 or something crazy like that.
Okay, yeah.
And then it was like in the regular season, and then in the playoffs they were 0-3, and I was like,
yeah, and I was asking Dad this the other day, but I'm like, would you rather have a team that's good in the regular season but just like fails in the postseason, or a team that's like barely scrapes it into the postseason and then like actually like gets a few games?
Well, I think I would go for the barely scrapes and wins.
Yeah,
more than that. I thought you were gonna say like just is terrible, and I was like, well, I'd definitely go with the team that wins during the season.
Well, no, exactly. I like what comes to mind is like the Brewers. You know, like we were awesome in the regular season, but we literally just get knocked off right away in the postseason. But I was like, oh, maybe like. Yeah, if you had a team that like barely gets that wild card, like literally the last game determines if they get that wild card. I was like, and then they like make a few games into the playoffs. I was like, what would hurt more? You know, because like I do appreciate going to like a Brewers game, and like there's a good chance they're gonna win. You know, like don't go to a postseason Brewers game because
they're gonna get swept.
Not good, yeah. But
all right, anyway, okay. So I have you on the show because I wanted to talk about a couple things that we had going on in our lives this early January. You got the opportunity to go to Seek. Do you want to explain to people watching what Seek is?
Yeah, so Seek is a youth Catholic conference that's hosted every year by the missionary group Focus, Fellowship of Catholic University Students. Focus is an acronym. And yeah, Seek, I think, has been going on for maybe about like 25, maybe 30 years. And what it is, all these like college students, Catholic college students mostly, they all come to like one location. And we just like, at this conference, we just are able to have an encounter with God, with Jesus. That's awesome. And they bring in all of these big speakers. Yeah.
What was your favorite speaker?
Oh, okay.
Or like top 3, because I got to see some of them on like when I was at my event, which I'll get into later. I was just watching some of the YouTube videos that were coming out from Seek, which were like the big guest speakers and all that kind of stuff. And And so I'm just curious. Obviously, I couldn't see all of them because I didn't go to the actual event. But
I think it was. It's always a pleasure to see Father Mike. Like he's just so on fire with God. Yeah. And I think he was like the first priest I found on like YouTube, and I was like, wait, there's
and that's
priests
Father
on
Mike
YouTube?
Schmitz. And
Father Mike Schmitz.
Ascension Presents, I think, is the YouTube.
Yeah, he works with Ascension.
Yep.
He does the Bible in a Year podcast, which was like #1 podcast for a long time. Goes through the Bible in a year. It took me like 4 years, the Bible in 4 years for me, but that's all right. He also does like the Catechism in a year, and I think they just started the Rosary in a year. So
yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
So
no, that's awesome. Wait, so he was your #1 guy that you like to see?
No, he was like, I think he's always just like, I know he's gonna be there, so it's always like great to watch him. He's amazing. Father Monsignor Shea is wonderful. He had like this beautiful talk, just kind of on like New Age, and just like how that looks different, and kind of just like some of the challenges the church faces with that. Just kind of like the idea of like just like, I don't know, the past and how we like view certain groups of people, and just how like try to like avoid that.
Who was that speaker that you showed us in our Bible study?
Yeah, the Harvard professor.
Yeah, the Harvard professor. That one was really good. And
Josh, if you look up his name, it slips my name just because I've only
if you can find
this is the first time I like met him.
But that was an interesting, because that one was about it was kind of like finding
happiness.
your purpose. Yeah, like your happiness. How does that resemble with like your purpose and all that kind of stuff? But I thought that one was
his name was Arthur Brooks.
Yeah, Arthur Brooks.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and is he at Harvard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a Harvard University business school university professor, and he has like one of the most popular classes at the school. I think there's like, he said like 500 people on the waiting list to get in this happiness class, and it's like a class that almost has no correlation to business. But I mean, like you could argue that like happiness is like, it goes to every like sort of like realm, you know, like medicine, business.
Well, and he was talking about his like how his like 2 of his kids like knew exactly what they wanted in life, and just had the direction of how that related to faith in God and all that kind of stuff. But then their middle son, which like I'm a middle son,
Carlos,
not the middle son, but the middle kid in the family, just like how he struggled with that, and like how like he enjoyed things, but it didn't give him that happiness or purpose in life, and how like he just eventually I think he just went to the military, because he would make them write like a business statement, like when they'd
have to do like a business proposal for like the next 4 years of their life, because he said that he was like their investor, because he would pay for like their college experience. So, and he was a business professor, so it kind of makes sense. Like he had that kind of route.
Yep.
But no, just like knowing, I think there was like 2 questions. I think one was like, what would you die happily for? Like what would you give your life happily for?
What was that second question?
I can't remember. I have it written down somewhere.
Yeah.
But just like he was like, you need to be able to answer these 2 questions in order to be happy.
Yeah.
And I think another thing, and we've been talking about this, is like the idea of like, there's like categories of happiness, and one of them is pleasure. Like a lot of people, I think, especially nowadays, like they think pleasure is happiness, right? Like maximizing pleasure, trying to gain the most pleasure out of things, even maybe at the expense of others. But just like like I think especially on college campuses, like this was radical to hear as like a college student. You just think of like drinking culture, hookup culture, like all these are oriented towards
I was kind of
maximizing
surprised,
pleasure.
like when he was saying that he was a Harvard professor, I was kind of like, oh. Like, that's interesting because I feel like a lot of times those Ivy League schools are very progressive. And then to, like, have a class where you bring faith in. And maybe he...
was fire,
Maybe he doesn't bring it in as much as he talked about, or just whatever that is, But just the fact that he did have that a part of... his speech.
Well, and I think what's awesome is he like, so, okay, I guess sitting in the crowd obviously is very different than like sitting and watching it like when we watch it like on the couch, and it was funny because they were like, for the first time performing this. So this opening keynote, it's like, so if you don't know, like we had 21,000 students at this conference. Awesome. It was just packed, and it's just college kids. So like, there's no like just people like sitting quietly. Everybody's like up, just cheering. Just like, like supporting their schools and stuff. So like the MC comes out, and he's like, so for the first time ever performing at like a Seek conference, like giving a talk, Arthur Brooks. And I was like, shoot, this is first Seek conference. I was like, he's Father Mike. Is this? I was like, no, but I was like, is this guy even gonna hype us up? I was like, I was like, ooh, like I was kind of nervous for him. And then literally, probably the best talk I heard at Seek was his happiness talk. And one of the things he opened up with, kind of going off that line of like, ooh, Harvard progressive school, is he goes, I open up my class, right? This is a class for probably like a pick lecture with like 500 kids in it. He was saying that they have a secret like Zoom link that people can watch the class. So imagine like watching an extra class. I can't because like sometimes I don't even watch my own lectures. But
think of if his lectures were just like his talk that he gave at the thing. It's like, you would do it because you're not going home with the homework he's giving you. So it's like, instead of watching a different podcast, like you almost treat that as a podcast. Like, hey, like I'm going to make sure. Well, what's interesting too is that's probably live, so there's probably not a recording of it. So you probably just have to catch it when it's actually going on. And if
I bet even he would be a professor to like, I want you in my classes because it's different, and that sort of thing. But so literally the first thing he goes, my first day of class, I walk in, I say, like, I'm teaching this happiness class, and he goes, one of the most important things for my happiness is 1, I'm Catholic, and 2, I go to daily mass every single day. And I was like, dang, like to think of a teacher walking into a class and saying that.
Well, because I just graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, and you're
go
still
Titans.
Go Titans. And you're still attending. I think you graduate this spring, right? So are you ready for that?
Hopefully that counted, right?
Hopefully that counted right.
120 credits.
They swapped a lot of stuff, so you never know. There might be a missing credit somewhere.
Well, I didn't like. I don't know if I was like wasn't thinking about it, but like I almost didn't register to graduate. Like I went because I like
they give you time though, because I registered late.
Okay, so like all of a sudden like I'm like I should probably just go meet with my like advisor, just make sure I have enough credits. So like I go in and we're talking, and I was like, do you mind counting? Because like I counted, and I just want to make sure. So apparently there was a glitch in my system, so like I wasn't counting up to 120 because we had a brand new class that wasn't in the system, and I'm like, what the heck? Because I'm like, this class is I need this to graduate. It's in my major. It's only offered this semester.
It's the first level crowd. Like I'm with freshmen.
Literally. Yeah, literally. And I was like, and she's like, oh yeah, it's been like happening to everybody. It's like a glitch. I'm like, maybe that'd be a good memo to send out to some of the seniors, because I was like, I literally thought I wasn't gonna graduate.
So as you went to Seek over the beginning of January, I went to KCACTF, which is an acting competition that's held nationwide. So there's like 8 regions, I think. So we're part of Region 3, our university or whatever. Originally, I graduated, but because I graduated, I still was in the system.
They kind of like grandfathered.
Yeah. So I got grandfathered in. Someone needed a partner for their Irene Ryan acting, and I was like, and they were like, hey, could you do it with me? Because the other person I asked couldn't do it, and I was like, yeah, no, I got you. Let's lock in. And then because I was going for that, I was like, well, because I'm not doing anything, I don't really have any pressure on me. I'm like, let me also just like audition for the MTI, which is the Music Intensive Theater or Music
have you
Theater
done that
Intensive.
before?
I've never done that before. So So it was
Well,
like
you've gone to this festival before.
Yeah, I have
correct?
gone
Okay.
to this before. Yeah, so I've gone 2 times before. The first time, both times I was a part of the acting. So you have to get nominated to be in the acting, and so I got nominated 2 times before. The first time, I didn't make it. Second time, I made it past the first round to the semifinals, and then I eventually didn't move on. So this time I was kind of like, well, honestly, we'll just go with the flow, see what happens. Like I'm not worried about anything like that, and so. We get there the night of. However, the music I picked, I've never done a music audition with piano. I've done a cappella auditions like for the last 5 years. And so that was kind of like okay, like it's a little bit different. But our grandma plays piano. So I was like, "Hey, like if I give you this music, could you just play it a little bit? Like just learn it roughly so that I can come to your house and we can just like run through it, you know, and I don't have to like be super surprised when I hear a piano and try to tune to that and all that kind of stuff." And so we get to the event, or so that the 2 days before we leave, I go to my grandma's and she's playing the song "Luck Be a Lady Tonight," like the "Luck Be a Lady Tonight."
See, that's the speed it's supposed to be sung at.
No, that was my speed. That was my speed. But no, so that was the problem is that we realized that she was playing it in the Frank Sinatra's like "Luck Be a Lady Tonight," and that's the Frank. Whereas like I wanted to do the musical, which tends to be quicker.
And that's from Guys and
Dolls.
Okay, yeah.
And
nice.
so I was like, hey, like can you play it a little quick? She's like, that's a little challenging. And she's played piano her whole life, like can literally pick it up, and she's like, that's a little challenging. And I'm like, oh man, I'm getting in my head because I'm like, if this is challenging for her to go that fast, like,
well, she's had it for a little bit too. Like she's just like she's a little more familiar.
Nikita, don't do it, don't jump, don't jump, don't jump.
We're gonna have to blacklist them.
Hold it. All right, Macy, Nikita, you're out.
Hey, we're gonna take a pet break.
All right. That's funny.
Yeah, get him out of here. Throw him out.
Yeah, Macy won't mess with it.
Hey, strike 5 for that guy.
He's just gonna be. I saw his eyes perk up, and he's like, "I'm gonna go for it." I'm like, "No, don't."
He's like, "I think I can make it, guys. I think I can make it."
A little engine that could.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she was like, "I don't know if I can play," and I was like, "Okay." So then I didn't really get to practice it with her, but then I was doing "Oh What a Beautiful Morning" for Oklahoma, and that one sounded.
Well, she
good.
played really well. Like, I remember like she like sight read that, and I was like, man, like.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that one's definitely easier. And so I was like, so now going into this competition, I'm like, okay, well, my grandma who plays piano her whole life can't play this the speed that I want it. Like, but I'm not going
with practice.
But I'm not, because she had like literally 3 weeks to a month to, and I'm like,
I mean,
so,
she is
now
a little
I'm in my
older,
head.
but
So
like,
now, so now I'm in my head because I'm like, I'm not worried about the acting one because I'm the partner, and it's like that is what it is. But I'm like, oh no, like, what if like I get in there and I'm like, can you play it? And they just play it insanely slow because they can't play it.
Yeah, they have no idea of the speed.
Yeah, and the music has no like music. So it's kind of whatever you choose, like just the
Tempo,
song in general. And so I'm like, so I'm freaking out. So that whole night.
Did it have like a recommended tempo?
No, it didn't. It just said whatever music term for whatever. And I was like, oh, well, I might be cooked. But I was like, yeah, we'll ball. And
did the person seem confident they could play it?
No, so I stayed up that whole night and I'm like just running through the tempo with my headphones on because I have a roommate and I'm just like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 and I was just like trying to get the tempo down and I'm like, okay, I literally have like an app where you can like click the beats per like to like be like, nah, this is literally what it's saying 150, like so it's got to be 150. And so I write all the stuff in the music, get ready to go, and I'm like okay.
Plus nerves of just having to
perform. So then what sucks
too
is I get the 9 o'clock slot, which is 9 a.m., which is like the worst because that's the earliest spot, and I'm like, well, this is great. And so
at least you get it out of the way.
So that was nice.
Is that the first slot they do in that?
Yeah, it's the first slot, but it's the worst because you literally have no time to warm up, and you just like, it is. You don't have any.
Can you watch other people's auditions?
No, so it's all closed off, so you can't go in and watch someone else, which doesn't matter because you go in to see what it's like.
Yeah.
But I'm already going, and so I get into the room. Like the waiting room with all the people, and we're just chatting it up, talking to people from different states and different universities or whatever. And then then they call us up and we get lined up and we head into the room and there's one judge there and there's the pianist and I was like, or the accompanist, and I'm like, all right. And so I'm 4, so there's 3 people ahead of me. I'm the 4th out of 10. So then there's like
so they let 10 people in and then you
so
watch
there's
each
10
other's
there's
auditions?
10 people in your group that
at a time.
perform.
Okay.
So you get let in with them. And so the first like few go and I'm like, I'm still nervous because I'm like, what if they don't take my tempo? Like, So it's finally my turn. The chick in front of me was a finalist last year. So I'm like, okay, that's great. Going after someone who's like already killed it, 1 year, like they're going to cook. And so I go up there and I give them the sheet of music or the binder.
What were
of music.
some of the other like songs that people chose?
I'm not like just out there. Like I don't know them for.
Okay,
like,
got you.
It's
No,
just
that you,
because
like,
there's so much
recognized, or-
musical theater, and like
Yeah.
I would say like we're pretty like cut to like this canon, and then
Yeah.
like but there's ones that are out more contemporary or whatever.
Were
that
they
we
from
haven't
like
seen.
other musicals or
Yeah,
like?
no,
is
they're
that
all
usually-
musical
okay,
songs. Yep. And so it's finally my turn. I give my binder to the compass, and I get up there, and I'm like, okay, this beginning part, like, just follow me. I'm like, I changed my tempo, so you just gotta follow me. Don't worry about it. It's slower too.
Yep.
Second part, like, this part is a little bit faster, like, but also you can still follow me if you're not feeling comfortable, like with the speed or whatever. Like, not that big deal. Also, like, in my head, I'm like, I'm used to just singing a cappella, so if that's what happens, we're good.
Yeah.
And then like the last like four measures, like just follow me too, because I slow it way down
Yep.
for the emphasis of the ending, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, I got you." And I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
She was
Because
quick to
everyone's telling me,
accept that.
like, "Oh yeah, they got this," and it's their
George's
job
like-
too, so they
George's
should
like,
be
can you
able
run
to do
that back
whatever."
for me, actually?
Yeah, no.
Really
so
quick?
so I get up there, introduce myself to the judge, and then she gives me like the starting chords, and we're starting it off, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm feeling good." I'm like, "We're cooking."
Maybe she can do it. Maybe she's actually an
And then,
accompanist.
so we're getting through this first part or whatever, and the second part's coming up, and then all of a sudden we're off to the races. This woman is literally playing the song like "Luck be a lady tonight, luck be a lady tonight," and I'm like, "Oh no!" In my head, while I'm trying to sing,
If you're
I'm
unfamiliar,
like,
that is not how the song sounds.
that's not how the song songs. In
It's
my
not
head,
Hamilton.
I'm like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Oh no!" And it's just going so fast. I'm basically rapping at this point. There is no singing. There is no vocals. Like, and I'm just like laughing to myself, looking at the judge while he's kind of laughing at me, because it's just like no one in their right mind would sing it. But I guess she just saw the triple 150 and was like, "Okay, he wants it fast. I'll give it to him fast." And then just go, and then she didn't even play my ending correctly.
I mean,
She
a lot.
went
That's a
through that.
pretty popular song. Like, she must have been familiar with it. Do you think like there was a point where she's like, "Ooh, maybe I should slow down," or she was just like,
No, she was confident
"This is
that.
bad that we
Which
made
I'm
it, we're
like,
gonna
I
lay
don't
in
think
it."
I messed up the tempo marking that bad, but like
Yep.
maybe I did. But I was like, note to self, we just sing it like Frank because everyone knows how to do that. So that's what I learned for that MTI. But yeah, no. So that was
Got
an
you. So you
experience.
tried to speed up the song with
well
your
to
markings.
like what the musical is.
Okay.
But what I realized
So
too
might have
is
thrown
that
her off
like
a little bit.
all of the musical versions are like, okay, so you have the movie Guys and Dolls, and that one has like multiple verses.
Yeah.
Well, this one that I'm singing only had one verse, which I was freaking out too, because you have so if you make it to the finals, you have two music selections. They choose which one. I didn't know that. I thought if you made it to the finals, you get to choose. So and the Guys and Dolls, when I originally went in, thought I only had half of the script, like whatever that was. So when they were like, hey, like, or I was talking to my buddy who was also doing it, and he was like, oh yeah, they get to choose, and I'm like, what if
Would
they
you have
choose Guys and
choose-
Dolls? I don't have the
Yeah.
whole.
Would you have chose
Like, I
"Oh,
don't
What
know.
a Beautiful Morning"?
Well, then I looked it up, and it turns out I had a different version of the song, but it still was like that was the original
Okay.
musical version, and that was like the full song, which was really short, which I never knew or whatever.
Kind of nice.
Yeah, but so I got lucky because
Yeah.
otherwise I thought I
It would-
was cooked. I was like,
and
well,
you did
if
it
they
extra
But then
fast.
also I was like, you would have to make it to the finals anyway. Okay, that was the funny thing is too. So the person that came after me,
Yeah.
actually went to the finals. I literally was between like two goats, and
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is like the worst experience. Like
Try
I'm
it.
laughing because like you can't be mad.
And
I was
maybe
like,
they won't remember it. Because
I'm like, this is the worst experience of my entire life. Like, I get absolutely annihilated, and then like the two people, one in front,
Yeah.
one behind, just kill it, and they both move on. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe
How's-
I helped them.
How's
because
the
they
atmosphere
compared
there?
me.
Like, how is it like competitive, or is it
Oh,
like,
yeah,
oh,
no.
I hope you do
Every-
terribly, like
no,
break both legs?
Okay. This
you
is
know?
the funniest thing. So we get back into the room after
Yeah.
we do it, and I'm packing up my stuff, and I'm like, well, that was the worst. Like in
already
my head, I'm
knows.
like, that was the
He
worst.
already
The
knows.
chick that went in front of me was like, oh, I hope we both move on, and I'm like, go die. I
Yeah,
was
go
like,
die, yeah.
you know, I'm like, I obviously I said like you too, but I was like the way she said it, she was like I know I'm moving on,
She
like
knew, yeah.
L for you, brother.
I'll
And
be
I was
praying
like-
for you.
yeah, no, she ain't praying.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of praying going around in
No?
that
Okay.
conference, which kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of ticked me off a little bit. There was a lot of shows that like had anti-Christian themes
Okay.
and stuff, or like, and there was a couple hits at like Catholicism, and I was like, you know what, like, I think I was at that point I was like, damn, I wish I went to Sikh, but then
Yeah.
I realized, for me, I think I needed that because just to see like what I think the two events that we went to are complete polar opposites.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's unique that both of us went to each one because we can kind of talk about each of them. But like the KC, the event that I went to is just pro everything under the sun, which is kind of crazy.
A pro
But,
world, I guess you could
yeah,
say.
pro secular life.
Yep.
And it makes it challenging when you're not part of that. But that's another egg or whatever. Okay, but what I do have, we have the special thing that I talked about earlier in the
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
Okay, I want to get to it before we run out of time.
Jordan's been hyping this
So
up for like 2
I have
weeks
been
now.
hyping it up. If this is a letdown, it is what it is. Okay,
Yep.
but what I got,
Smokes. No.
it's called the Underbrush gum, and basically what it is, is it's actual like true natural gum that you like how it was originally made back however long ago before
Trident's
they like
been lying to you.
yeah, before they put like synthetics,
Public
like
memo.
plastics, rubbers, and like Tide or not Tide, but they probably put in Tide too. But like
Hey, we
Tide
don't know.
and then like
Yep.
extra and all that stuff. So I was on TikTok, and like when Trump was when Biden was taking TikTok down,
Yep.
and I was like, well, I might never like.
A lot of people
they've been
nervous.
pushing this ad like a mother to me, and I'm
Targeted
like,
advertising.
yeah, hardcore.
He's been lingering.
And yeah,
He's
literally
been
for
lingering.
like the last year, and I was like,
Yep.
you know what? I don't care.
They break
I'm
you
buying
down.
it. I'm like, but I also really wanted it because I do like
Yeah.
gum, and obviously,
Oh, big gum fan.
but so I don't know. So what I want to do is I want to try this with Isaac and I to do a taste test.
Yep.
And then that's the plan right now. Oh, okay.
It's a reveal. This is a
This
product.
is actually
reveal,
kind of
pretty
fire.
much.
Okay, if you reach over, I can give you one.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put it in at the same time. Okay. Apparently it's really hard, and wait, Josh, come over here. I'll give you one too. So apparently it's really hard, and here. And you are supposed to chew it on like one side of your mouth for like 10 minutes before you move it around or something like that.
Okay.
I just realized I destroyed this box. That's definitely not how you were supposed to.
I was
open
kind of
this.
watching you do that. I was like, interesting.
But I don't know how. Oh, I see now. Actually, I can super glue it and fix it. We
Good
can
thing is
hey, we can
that
fix it in
TikTok
post.
is back
That was
up.
the worst wink of my entire life. Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah. Switch the cams.
That was bad. All right, okay.
Are we throwing it in?
Yeah. So we'll throw it in 3,
Yeah.
2, 1. Okay. Apparently, it's supposed to be like insane mint, and then it like levels out, but the flavor lasts forever. All right. This is why I didn't do it at the beginning of episodes. You just hear us smacking the entire time.
ASMR.
So, okay, what are your original thoughts about this, Josh? You included.
Honestly, it tastes like I don't know if anybody has had these, but like ginger chews. You know?
I've never had it, but I know what ginger tastes like.
But it's kind of just like tough, and then it like slowly like loosens up. But I'm assuming it's gonna be gum, so it's gonna kind of stay with you.
The original bites give me like when you're done with a gum.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it tastes like when there's no flavor. There's
We've
flavor.
been scammed.
It gets harder and harder. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It just keeps getting harder. Like especially like the bubble gum, the big bubble stuff.
Yeah, I just got like a huge hit of flavor, and then
It's dying down.
yeah, it kind of died down.
It's almost like
quickly.
you know, like those like ice ones or whatever, like
Yeah,
the
yeah, the
ice
little
gum,
cube.
where it's like you chew through it and then it like it turns
Mhm.
into gum.
Yeah, I have to pop like
Ice
8
cubes.
of those things in my mouth just to make them
Yeah, you know what I mean.
flavorful.
Mhm.
This will be interesting. It'll be a letdown if this is what it is, but I think it's hopefully not. We got another like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's where we can end this episode. Thank you so much, Isaac, for coming
Yeah,
on.
no,
Josh,
it's a pleasure.
Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah,
and,
big tech guy Josh over
yeah,
there.
big tech. Round of
Looking good
applause for
over
big
there,
tech
yeah,
guy.
big tech guy.
Big tech guy. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining the podcast. We'll see you next week with the next episode. We'll figure it out. And sweet, cool, peace. All right.
Good stuff.
That was a good episode.
Yeah.
Oh.